this week's Please Hold for Dave Sims. I have a few questions for Dave. Number one, in latter days, at one point during his time spent quarantined, bound, Cerebus thinks the word of Rick he's supposed to give the three wise fellows is Mungu Makono, but he can't recall how to say it. Was Mungu Makono the actual word of Rick Cerebus was supposed to answer them with? And if so, would the outcome of the situation have been any different if he'd done so? I suspect that it would have. Yes, it was intended that way, which I just thought was a really interesting thing to do, making basic flawed memory a particular story point in the fact that I am sure Cerebus remembered very, very vividly the dream of Rick, particularly with the bang that he woke up to as soon as he heard Mungu Makono. And I thought it would be very, very funny that as vivid a memory as that is, he can't remember what it actually was. He said something, but I can't remember what it is, and everything's hanging in the balance. This is really, really irritating kind of thing. And at this point, I definitely see that as the way God tends to work, which is, okay, now you realize how much you irritate me a lot of the time. I mean, there's just, one thing missing from your life, and you won't do it. And here's all of these other things that are weirdly complicated and a lot more difficult to do, and you do those practically as second nature. It's like, work on yourself, improve the sides of yourself that you should be improving. His number two question, I just heard that back in 2015, a previously, quote, lost, unquote, F. Scott Fitzgerald short story entitled Temperature was discovered and published. Has anyone sent that to you, or did your interest in the subject of F. Scott end entirely once the research into him in going home ended? No, I always am still very interested in F. Scott Fitzgerald, and particularly in this situation where it is a short story. I would be very, very interested in reading that, just to see what a Scott Fitzgerald story that I haven't read would read like. Short story is not going to take very much time at all to read. So if anybody runs across Temperature on the internet and can fax it to me, that'd be great. That's certainly something I would never find on my own. This seemed, excuse me, I went back through the earlier correspondence files for March, which are on their way out back to Camp David to get into their correspondence box. And I had the letter from F. Scott Fitzgerald, quarantined in 1920 in the south of France during the Spanish influenza outbreak, that you faxed to me. Did you post that to A Moment of Cerebus?
I think it went up on one of Oliver's columns.
One of Oliver's columns?
Yeah.
Anyway, I very much enjoyed that. The dearest Rosemary, it was a limpid, dreary day, hung as in a basket from a single dull star. I thank you for your letter. Outside, I perceive what may be a collection of fallen leaves tussling against a trash can. It rings like jazz to my ears. The streets are that empty. It seems as though the bulk of the city has retreated to their quarters, rightfully so. At this time, it seems very poignant to avoid all public spaces, even the bars, as I told Hemingway. But to that, he punched me in the stomach, to which I asked if he had washed his hands. He hadn't. He is very much the denier, that one. Why, he considers the virus to be just influenza. I'm curious of his sources. The officials have alerted us to ensure we have a month's worth of necessities. Zelda and I have stocked up on red wine, whiskey, rum, vermouth, absinthe, white wine, sherry, gin, and, Lord, if we need it, brandy. Please pray for us. And it's like, Scott, there's your problem right there. But try telling that to him in 1920 when those most definitely seemed to him to be the necessities of life. Anyway, and when I saw Dearest Rosemary, I went, is this the actress, the teenage actress that he got smitten with? And ended up pulling out my F. Scott Fitzgerald A to Z and looking up Rosemary Hoyt, thinking that was the name of the actress, and I had it wrong. Rosemary Hoyt is the name of the actress in Tender is the Night, who was based on Lois Moran, who was the teenage actress that F. Scott Fitzgerald became smitten with around 1919, in and around there. So that was kind of interesting in itself. That it's Dearest Rosemary. It's almost like he's writing to his character instead of writing to the actress, which is when you start mixing in that alcohol.